is Thomas Massie. Is this our inside man? Is that who we have? And that includes, we know Ro Khanna has done his share of work. Not to mention, we know Marjorie Taylor Greene. She did what she had to do, what she could get away with before she was driven out. But is Thomas Massie, is that our guy? It seems like he is. If we have one, if he's not, we don't have a guy. So by default, we're saying Thomas Massie looks like he's our inside guy. This is what happened before he went in. He did tweet this out to his people, which is good. He said, this is like the precursor. Tomorrow I'm going in to the DOJ. I'm going to go. So basically, I'm going into battle, guys. I'm going into the ring. I'm going against. It's Massie DOJ, right? That's the header. I'm going in to view the unredacted files. Which should I view? Include EFTA link in reply. So he says, I'm going to sort this through. He's going to take in consideration how people respond to this, which is great because guess what? Did you know that our Congress people, they actually work for us? That's weird. That's weird that he's taking instructions from people who voted for him and he's working for. That's strange. I've never seen that before.
That part I absolutely loved because he's actually telling people, engage with me, tell me what you want me to go find out and to reveal to you, and then I will follow up on whatever gains the most traction. So that encourages a level of transparency that we honestly are not used to. So I've never voted for Republican for president. You know, I lean left on many economic issues. So I could easily find ways to disagree with Thomas Massie and some of his ideas. But on this issue, which affects everything, like clearly he is trying to do his best to get to the bottom of it. So, you know, the fact that he's asking us to essentially hold him accountable, that's something that none of our reps do. And, you know, like we can go and we can see, is he following up on the stuff that's gaining the most traction?
Yes. And it looks like he did. And not to go through all the people's replies, but the fact that that's there, it was incredible. You guys can go check it out. He's got a whole thread on everybody that responded, and he took notes. He engaged with his people. How awesome is that? This is him after he went into battle. And the first reveal, and now we know, as of now, we know there's six new names that have been revealed, but he got the first one out. This was on CNN. This was live. Check this. This is pretty big deal, mentioning Les Wexner. I should have bet Craig Pasta on this. He told me he didn't think that Les Wexner would have been mentioned because that means that we're actually something really big is happening now. So I can't wait to talk to him again about this because he said we didn't have that originally. Oh, but Thomas Massie got it to happen. Here's him telling us on live TV on CNN.
Example of something, maybe it wasn't intentional on their part. I'd like to hear his take on the redaction of the CEO, who's listed as a co-conspirator in the 2019 child sex trafficking case.
So can I ask you, because, and I want to ask if this is the same person, Todd Blanche also said about that tonight that the document you're citing there has victim names in it.
Correct.
Seeming to say that's why there are redactions. He said, we have just unredacted Les Wexner's name from this document, but his name already appears in the file thousands of other times. And he says the Justice Department is hiding nothing. Is that the retired CEO that you're referencing?
It is. He unredacted it after I found it. That's a problem. And I'm glad they've admitted they made a mistake by redacting that.
So you're saying it was redacted when you went in there today, and after you tweeted that, they unredacted it?
Correct. Now he's got 4 other names he needs to unredact. Did he respond to that? There's a list of 20 people. And there's 4 men in there that need to be unredacted. Here's another troubling thing that I found.
Can you say who those 4 men are tonight?
I don't think they're well known. And so if I did, it wouldn't matter, but I could probably say them on the floor of the House. But I'll give the DOJ a chance to do what they did in these 2 examples, where I've discovered something and now they've responded.
First of all, I just got to say, Caitlin Collins, why aren't you smiling? You were told to smile. I'm just playing. That was a little reference to Trump. But look, this was the start of something pretty big deal. Ro Khanna came in. We broke the news at the big top of the show, but Ro Khanna was able to get all of these names. So Leslie Wexner was set, and we do know the Sultan. We're going to look at that as well because Massie was big on getting that to happen. So we're going to look at that paper trail. But the 4 names on top, those were said today, like just hours ago, by Ro Khanna on the House floor. Every one of these people on this list are massively big players, not just businessmen, people that move a massive amount of wealth, massive amount of influence on a global scale. Will there be follow-up on any of these people? We hope so. But Les Wexner's in the dialogue now, thanks to Thomas Massie and thanks to Ro Khanna as well for, we call it kind of an assist and a dunk. So you have an assist by Massie, a dunk by Ro Khanna earlier today. But let's look closer at what Massie did, the back and forth he had, and this kind of, and I guess you could call it kind of a little bit of a Twitter war here. But these were the three things that he went to do. So number one, he's responding, right, to the people that asked him to do. So number one is unredacted an FBI file that labels two individuals co-conspirators. Number two, unredacted a file that lists several men who might be implicated. So those are the lists we just saw. We got 6 of them now. 3, admitted that the Sultan was the sender of the torture video. Specifically, that's the one people wanted to know. Why the hell can't we see the name of that person? Well, we now know who it is. Let's look at some of what he had to go through. Well, first of all, this is Wexner. He's one of the wealthiest figure in the fashion industry. Just so you guys have a reference, from the 80s to the 2000s, he's the founder of Victoria's Secret Empire, person who provided Epstein with a significant financial and social support during the 80s and 90s. So you guys have a face to put to the name. This is the person who's now been called out as a co-conspirator, and should be taken into cuffs right now. This is the file that needed to be unredacted, and it successfully was, thanks to Massie. And he said, yes, this is significant because Kash Patel testified. Now, this is the part, let's hold people accountable. Kash Patel testified to Congress that the FBI had no evidence of other sex traffickers, that this is the FBI's own 2019 document listing Wexner as a co-conspirator in child sex trafficking. It wasn't unredacted until tonight. Of course, Todd Blanche comes back to try and smear Massie. Goes, no, the document you cite has numerous victims' names. We have just unredacted Les Wexner's name from this document, but his name already appears in the file. So I don't know what your problem is. We're not hiding anything. So that's his little whimper excuse. But moving to number 2, Thomas Massie says here the DOJ acts as if they were justified in redacting the men's names simply because the document contains victims' names. That's not how things work. Just because there's victim names doesn't mean you redact the perpetrator names. Tonight they learned you can actually redact victims' names while still publishing the other names per our law. Also, until tonight, we didn't know who sent the torture video. Well, he went there. He unredacted the email. And it turns out it was a Sultan's. And our law requires victims' information to be redacted, not information of men who sent Epstein torture porn. And this is where he found out that Sultan seems to have sent this. The DOJ should make it public. And this is the infamous torture video email, which as of now, because of Massie, we know who sent it. It was the Sultan. This is the Sultan there. Controls 10% of the global container traffic and can smuggle anything or anyone anywhere he wants to in the world. And that's the company out of Dubai. It specializes in cargo logistics, port terminal operations, maritime services, and free trade zones. It's a massive company. He has total control on what gets shipped and who gets shipped. So that's how that operation had been working. He's part of the World Economic Forum there. And here's Todd Blanche lying again. You look at the document, you know it's an email address. It was redacted. The law requires redactions for personality identifiable information, including of an email address, and you know that the Sultan's name is available unredacted in the files. Be honest and stop grandstanding. You're lying, Todd, because we know, readers added context, the claim justification is inapplicable because the act redacting language on the basis it's personally identifiable information is allowed only for victim info. So just to be clear, you're lying, Todd Blanche. That's only for victim info, not for perpetrators. Moreover, the act doesn't require redactions. It uses may. So nothing is actually required. It's a may. And then we wonder why we still have these ones. This is just an example, but we wonder, why are we still looking at black lines right now, Jay? Why are we looking at black lines when this clearly we need to know who effing is saying this about when Jeffrey Epstein is asking this person, oh, or saying to this person that there was a little girl who felt God as a presence in the bed, and she knows Jesus watches over her and he helped save her life. And Epstein says, whoops. And the person he sent it to tells Epstein, you should dress up as him when you see her. Why do we not know who sent this? This is, again, the work that we need somebody on the inside to show us. And I'll end with this, and I'll pass it to you. Patriot Blonde coming right out and telling us the FBI admitted this week that the photos and videos of children being tortured and murdered, ritualistic sacrifice, were not released due to their sensitive nature. Trump just said we should forget about it, let Epstein go. We are governed by demons. So there's a lot there, Jay. I just wanted to go through the timeline, but your thoughts on the developments. All of this happened in the last, I would say, 24, 40, 36, 48 hours time. What's your thoughts on everything that Massie has done, and are we any further into defeating this powerful entity that controls everything?
I think we are, and I think the shock is taking a little while to really work its way through, the minds of the masses. But if you really just stop and think about what we saw just now, so we understood that, okay, first it looked like there was some sex trafficking of minors and they were having sex with minors. Now we are seeing in emails that they are not just torturing, little children, but they're also taking videos of themselves torturing the little children and sending it to each other as entertainment. So this is another level of sickness. This is beyond the realm of what most everyday people can even imagine. Like, this is the level, this is the depth of the evil that we're trying to wrap our heads around at this point. And the Sultan guy who was talking about how much he loved the video, who sent the video, I guess, like, he is personally responsible. Like, he played a large role in America's relationship with the UAE and a lot of the economic development that we've been driving in that particular country. So clearly, Epstein is not just working for Mossad. Like, Epstein is working on behalf of U.S. corporations and American businesses too. So, I want everyone to keep that in mind. But, that email, it's sick in so many ways, because it shows you, again, it's not just about their pleasure that they get from doing it. They want to remember it, they want to record it, and they want to watch it over and over again because it's so special to them. And, like, we just have to ask ourselves, how is this happening? Like, how are the people ruling the world so different from the rest of us? They are literally psychotic in every sense of the word, and they are psychotic amongst themselves and enjoying the psychosis amongst themselves while somehow keeping it hidden from the rest of us. And that's why I wonder, like, if Epstein is still alive, why did all this happen in the first place? Because now we're getting a firsthand look, into what's actually happening. So
I think there might be a timing issue here with the new war we're trying to put on Iran. We haven't talked about Iran a little bit. We might have to push that till Thursday, but that's a big deal. So we look at we look at the whole playing field, the timing. We've been covering how the US dollar is in free fall. We know that there are emails in the files that discuss how we purposely tank the dollar, how we want to, rig the stock market. The entire thing's a big rigging game. It's all in the file. So there might be a timing issue on the calendar, Jay, where it now is okay to put this out there because there's these big events that are already set to happen and you can't really do anything about them at this point.
Maybe they want people to lose hope. I get what you're saying. They could want people to lose hope. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah. But like, it could, in my opinion, I think it's going to backfire, because I think as it soaks in a little bit more, people are going to become more and more angry and more upset. But I think they're going to try to channel that, into another divide and conquer strategy, which we'll talk about, in the final section. The new possible Hegelian dialectic that could be coming up. But let's see. So, but
this is a response from Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov says that Epstein files have exposed the pure Satanism of Western elites. Couldn't be more, more on point of an assessment. I mean, that's where we're at. And isn't it interesting? I'll ask people at home, like, it is interesting that the people that are mentioned in these files, it doesn't seem like I see anybody in there that I was told, that you were told, are the enemy. We don't have anybody in there that's up for question. I know they're trying to do the Russia hoax thing again, but we don't see anyone from Russia. We don't see anyone from Iran. We don't see anyone from China. We don't see North Korea. We don't see Venezuela. I'm just giving you guys the boogeyman that we were told.
The only exception would be the left is saying, oh, this reveals Donald Trump, and the right is saying this reveals the Clintons. So they are using it to polarize us within the country. But as far as the foreign enemies go, you're perfectly right. I don't see any Iranians. I don't see any Russians. I don't see any Chinese. I don't see Maduro. Like, I think he was mentioned once. I didn't even get a chance to look into that rabbit hole. But it wasn't in a positive light.
But every one of our allies are in it, right? Mm-hmm. All of our European friends are in it. Everybody that we were told we're the good guys. We're the allies. We're the heroes. Even though we fought with Russia in World War II, let's forget that part. They're the bad guys. Iran bad. North Korea bad. Venezuela. These are people. They all want to take over the world. They'll stop at nothing. Stop at nothing to do what? They want more land. They want to be the most powerful. What are you guys doing in these files? You're doing the worst possible thing you can do with power. Beyond, Putin wants more land. What you guys are, it's unbelievable. And
they're torturing children and eating babies. They're torturing children and eating babies. But we gotta hate Putin. Don't forget, Putin is the bad guy.
Yes, it's unbelievable. So we have to all reassess what we were told. We have to reassess not just what our tribe told us and our party told us. We have to reassess our entire education system. That was, by the way, the second most published textbook was owned by Ghislaine Maxwell's father, Robert Maxwell. McGraw-Hill is our textbook. That's interesting. That's weird. Why would we get it? What could he possibly do with that type of power as far as what is being put out in textbooks and what is being taught to us when we learn about World War II history, and we learn about the Holocaust? There's no others. By the way, no other Holocaust, just the Holocaust. That's what was told to us. So we have to reassess everything at this point. That's all. That's what I'm saying. To finish this off, I do have this thing on. You sent me on the.
I think it summarizes exactly what these elites are doing, and it's not just the politicians; it's also our entertainers. So I think we should play that.
Let's move to this one. It's we might have a copyright problem with this one, but that's okay. We can still discuss it. If I have to edit it out in the thing, I'm just gonna grab it real quick here. This is man, it's just extra disturbing to me just because this is Hollywood, and I was like, should we set up the Hollywood and do a little theme? I don't think I'm gonna do that. It's so tragic to see this. I'm just gonna play the video. This is an old sketch from a Comedy Central special. The comedian's name, his name is Trevor Moore, and this kid was very talented. He did some stuff with the guys, the Canadian dudes that did the Kids in the Hall. He's done some other, he put together another comedy troupe. So he was kind of up and coming back in the late teens, I guess, like 2018, 2019, 2020. He was really starting to get his groove in that Comedy Central arena. And he's just somebody that you would think, could have had a good career. This is a special that a promo for a special he put out. And it kind of tells everything. And maybe things would have gone differently if he didn't do this this sketch. But check it out. If we have to edit it in post, we might have to, but we'll still talk about it. For those of you watching live, here it is. And that was his little special announcement. And this is the follow-up to that special. Trevor Moore, 2021, comedian with the whitest kids you know, died on August 7th, 2021. Details of death. He died from an accident at the age of 41. That's all you're going to find on the obituary. A few people tweeted out that it was that he fell off a cliff. Fell is also in quotes. And you're not going to get much else. If you guys try and Google this guy, you're not going to see much of anything on him. It's pretty much, he's been pretty much erased. Luckily, we have Twitter to find this stuff out, and people that do grab this stuff and share it. And it's great that people do that, because if we didn't, we wouldn't. They clean the internet. There's not much. This is the only thing I could find. And I spent about 20 minutes trying to look for this guy. I couldn't find it, Jay. This is the only thing I could find. But we know that he did pass away suddenly, unexpectedly, from an accident. That's why, if you guys were wondering why we weren't laughing, because that thing was hilarious, but there wasn't much to laugh at because we knew how it was going to end. And there you go. That's the control mechanism. There it is. And sometimes they tell us right out in the open. I get the suspicion that video was not approved by the higher ups, as these other films come out are approved. That one's kind of was a little too, I would say, blunt and just real about it. It wasn't hidden like the Monsters Incorporated film is a little more hit, but this was right out. They were just telling us right to our faces, this is what happens. So there you go.
Yeah, sad, man. May his soul rest in peace. But when we find out more truth, like what we have, like what's coming out today, we got to be even more thankful and make sure, memories like his do continue on, because, he was trying to get the message out there. And, not just him, people like Bill Cooper, also met like a very untimely death. He was an investigative journalist who wrote that book, Behold the Pale Horse. Like, he had written a detailed book actually about a lot of the stuff, tying everything together. That book, Behold the Pale Horse, ties everything together. That came out in the early 2000s. And funny story, Matt, there's 2 editions to that book. The original edition had 1 chapter wiped. And can you guess what that chapter was about?
What was it about?
It was actually about Israel and Mossad, funnily enough. But now the only chapter that's the only chapter I believe that got removed from the book. So,
of course, I should have known. And Oliver Stone will tell us too that you ask him, hey Oliver, who killed Kennedy? And he's like, Israel. And you're like, well, obvious follow-up question, Mr. Stone. Why isn't there one mention of Israel in your film JFK? The reason is because he had I would say a chaperone on set with him the whole time. Never reported a problem. So the guy was perfectly nice, perfectly cool. Happened to be an Israeli spy, turned producer. We see a lot of those. We see a lot of those here in Hollywood. We see a lot of Israel spies turned producer. Perfectly nice guy, according to Oliver Stone, but just had to be on set, make sure everything went right. And there's certain things that weren't allowed to really be mentioned and dealt with in the production. And it was a long movie, and they could probably do without the extra scenes, and they had enough to work with. So I guess that's why it was okay. But that's what he'll tell you. If you ask Oliver Stone today, he will tell you that. That's not us making it up. That's what he said out of his own mouth.
It's a good thing that they tell on themselves to an extent, because a couple of weeks before JFK died, I actually did a whole post about it. I forget the guy's name, but a Zionist journalist, put into a paper like 2 weeks before JFK's death, if there's ever a coup in America and if the president ever dies, it'll be the CIA that did it. And don't think about anyone else but the CIA. And just leave it at that.
Preconditioning you. Yeah, there it is.